Hello, hello, hello. A very warm welcome to all our friends, viewers, stakeholders of Africa Rise with Susan West. It is a beautiful Sunday, and of course, I have been looking forward to seeing you again. And of course, as you join this broadcast, do the needful, which is create watch parties, invite your friends, share this broadcast. If you haven't liked, followed, or subscribed to our channels, please do so. It is Africa Rise TV on YouTube, Africa_Rise.tv on Instagram, and SWOB21, SWOB21 on Facebook. And of course, for those of you who watch from my wall, if you do migrate to my page, I will be absolutely elated. Thank you. And so, in earnest, I will be bringing on our first guest today. We have two guests. We have Dr. Sinkala joining us from South Africa, and of course, Barrister Abubakar Yesufu joining us from Lagos, Nigeria. So, in no time, I will be bringing on our first guest, which is Dr. Sinkala. Hello, Dr. Sinkala. You're muted.
Okay, my apologies. Good evening to your viewers. Thank you very much for having me.
Welcome once again. As always, it's always a pleasure to have you here. Every time we have you here, it's always buzzing after the broadcast is over because there's always so much that people go like, "Wow, I didn't know that." So I'm always elated that you honor our invitation. And so, of course, the
Thank you.
um, the topic I want us to tackle, of course, is the fact that Nigeria invited the United States of America to, station the Africa Post in Nigeria. And so that got a lot of people talking, and and of course you have reacted on personal grounds. You have your own observations. So our topic is respecting the territorial sovereignty of Nigeria, / of course, Africa, of course. And so go ahead and just talk about the reason why it's important that African sovereignty is um, respected.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much, Susan. It is quite encouraging that because of the technology, we are able to listen to the news at real time. And the story from Nigeria, it's something that touched our heart as an organization for African political parties and as well as president of Africa 55 states. Because our aim is to increase or improve as well, rather, the peace and security for the African continent. We have done case studies and looked at what elements multiplies the instabilities, civil wars, and peace and security within our continent. And we have seen that part of the problems is those problems that we create for ourselves, which immediately or in the midterm or in the future, that will affect African continent. And we wonder why we are in that situation. It's because of the decisions we have made in the past or the carelessness utterances of our leaders who were in power at the time. Um, I'd like to submit in the beginning that the most misunderstood word is a sovereign, word of the sovereignty of the country, which talks about the political power of the country or the legal power of the country. There are 4 types or 5 types, if I can remember from my mind now, the types of sovereignty, which points out one will be the absolutely sovereign, which is the real sovereign, which we had in the 1400s, 1600s, and the late 19th century, as we have seen that the involvement of monarchies and the absolute power by the monarchies, like for instance the British, and as well as a few of other states in the African continent, were ruled by the monarchies. We still have the absolute power here, just not very far away from here, South Africa, in Swaziland. So the other aspect of the power in terms of sovereignty is the legal power, which now has taken over the practice of governance. Being having the territory as the object, dealing with the people. So the legal system is in international relations is the constitution that governs the laws of each and every member state or each and every country, and that's a sovereignty of a country that is prescribed on how to deal or handle people within the country. The others as well, if I may talk, that might be linked to this topic. It is also another type, which is a more open type of sovereignty, which is not cast into stone. This is purely dependent on how the human rights are violated or how the human rights are respected. So the political sovereignty, if I may also doubt there a little bit, it's a power that is not, codified. This power of political sovereignty is controlled by the politicians, who most of the time overrides the legitimate legal sovereignty of the country. For instance, a political party makes an utterances or decisions to appoint certain officials in government, and those that start corrupting the government or influencing the public officials in their daily duties as public officers. So these are the type of sovereignty that we have in the country. But again, in the 1960s to the late 1970s, we have seen the emergency of organizations such as the NGOs, charity organizations and human rights organization, that which puts the governments to test. That yes, you've got absolute power to control your country, but what you're doing now in your country, it's a human violation. You are violating the rights of the human being. We have seen they're coming very strongly to keep align the governments to prescribe to the legal system, rather than the political system of dominance and control. And as well as, the international relations laws that gives the power to any country or any individual, to oversee what is happening to another country. It is not an interference of the government. For instance, if the government of Nigeria today decides to beat up some girls from school, I should be able to raise up my hand and say, no, this is a human violation. On what grounds or what law they have broken that constitutes to their human rights being violated physically. So these are the issues that we fail to understand, or they are often misunderstood, including other heads of states from the continent. If we are talking about the continent in particular, the president of South Africa or the president of Zambia, the president of Democratic Republic of Congo, which until recently I came to understand that it is undemocratic Republic of Congo, because last time I checked that in most countries which pretend to be democratic, they are undemocratic. Of recently, violence of children being abused and used as sex workers, and as well as recruited as child soldiers, has translated or transformed the essence of the Democratic Republic of Congo. I wish God can preside over the president, Tshisekedi, to seek help or prayers so that that country can be restored. But coming back to our topic of today, in terms of sovereignty and the utterances by General President Muhammadu Buhari of Nigeria, trying to invite or relocate the AFRICOM from Germany to Africa, that really, really hit my heart personally, and as an organization and the two organizations that I'm representing, because these are the issues that is making our countries to go deep down into violence, because we are failing to govern. We are failing to rule ourselves, as the population in Africa is touching close to 1.5 billion. Our systems are still fragile, because his utterances simply said that we are failing, we cannot do it. We are asking America to come and install a military base to monitor our behavior. It is something inconsistent to what we believed in as Africans, that we govern ourselves, we educate ourselves, we take ourselves to schools, and we treat ourselves when we are sick. But we are slowly losing that power, where we are inviting, if it is not the vaccines now, that has also, the pandemic that has made things open, and our weaknesses in terms of our medical systems and the infrastructure. We see Nigeria running to India or to South Africa, not really South Africa, but outside, to seek for the vaccines. Why can't we develop our vaccines to treat ourselves? And in terms of health in Africa, it's been a very long time that we've treated ourselves traditionally without going to the conventional medicine. So his utterances, as a leader, that is what I talked about, the political sovereignty is more powerful than the one which is codified, because of most of the people on the continent that are uneducated. They do not read the law. They listen to what the politicians, us who are senior in positions, of what we are saying. So we must be very careful in terms of what we are saying. It might be looking as a lip service or a political football at the time we are talking, but in the wrong line, it brings a very bad impression to our continent. You must see as well in Nigeria there, the arms, how are they coming into the country? The Boko Harams, who's funding them? Where are they coming from? We see all sorts of violence which are coming in the country, and we are failing to monitor them or to control them, because we are inviting them to come. We think that our dresses, our food, the ogbono I like in Nigeria there and the West Africa is not good. We must go flip the hamburgers, because we are not in control of ourselves. We do not like our tradition. Even some of the politicians, some of them I know, they go to Europe to marry because they say the women in Africa, they are not good. Everything foreign, they think that it is correct. So it is a problem that has created our African power, to be lost. That's why even politicians, in terms of political parties, now we do not believe in ourselves in terms of the communities. We go to the people, who are from outside. We need an investor to fund political parties. And, we're forgetting that if an outside organization funds us, that will be our master that we will listen to. If our children are crying, they are running in the streets, they don't have fathers or they don't have food, we will neglect them, but we will first speak to the one who paid for our campaign, or who paid for our children's birthday. So that is in what I will say on that, but African leaders in terms of peace and security, especially Nigeria, which I regard on the continent as one of the biggest emerging economies. Should be a big brother. Nigeria and South Africa must work together, to make sure that they strengthen the peace and security on the continent, and also assist the smaller countries, so that we internally train ourselves. We internally have our own security system that can govern us and protect us from the outside. We have seen what has happened in Chad. France, they've kept on dominating the West Africa and the Francophone countries, even training the bodyguards of the presidents. How safe are the presidents in Africa who are trained by the French government? The French government, who are for a very long time has abused, and they have continued abusing the Francophone countries so that they are dealt properly. Also on that point, Susan, I must also submit that I was equally disappointed, that none of the African leaders came up very quickly to say, I'm coming for the funeral. But you hear President Macron saying, no, I'm going to Idris' funeral. And he doesn't have something better to do. What is it that he's looking for in Chad, in West Africa, in Cameroon, and the Central African Republic, where we've got problems? So the influence from the outside, in terms of sovereignty is a problem. But sovereignty can be internally and externally as well. The internal sovereignty is for you to decide what to eat in your house, but you cannot decide to kill your own child. Then you are inviting the legal sovereignty of the country, or even the international community. They will say, no, Susan, you can't kill your child. It is out. So there is some powers that we can prescribe to or practice as leaders, but there's some powers that are beyond That's why you see now people, they will talk, they say, no, that is wrong. But because of the connotation of the misinterpretation of the constitution and diplomatic core has caused confusions on the continent. People do not hear, or you don't talk about them condemning what is happening in terms of human rights abuse in other countries, because they are saying, no, and Nigeria is got its own sovereign power. It will sort out its own power. Or Democratic Republic of Congo, it's got its own sovereign power. It will sort out itself. For Zambia, it's got its own power. It will sort out itself. But these regional and territorial conflicts, they will eventually overflow to other countries. You see
Right.
now South Africa is overwhelmed. So these are the issues, Susan, if I can conclude on that point, that has exacerbated the utterances, the carelessness in terms of leadership.
Right. Like you mentioned, he who plays the piper, he takes the tune.
Cause the
So
tune.
exactly. So what would have been the implication if America was to accept the offer of Nigeria? What would that portend for Nigeria and Africa at large?
Yes, they're definitely considering that, and I'm sure as we are speaking now, they are trying to convince or converse to other African countries. They will call them in New York, their city, to buy them hamburgers and treat them very well. And once they concede to that, America will go ahead and they bring their headquarters in terms of the African affairs within the African continent. These are things like, if I also can mention, that we wonder what happened. We're talking about the land was stolen by the Europeans, but this land we normally give them when they come. Now we're giving the Americans to come and set up a military base. They've got a few of them in the continent, which are in dispute, which other countries are trying very hard to make sure that they are removed from there. But we are inviting them to come and set up military base. It is a threat. If, Susan, you can just reverse the same thing, you say Nigeria, President Buhari wants to put up a military base in Washington, D.C., or New Jersey, or in the UK, there in London or Manchester. You see how the government, they will say, no, it is a threat. We can't see soldiers here in this country. Even if you fly a military plane, I remember my country, Zambia, flew, I think in the year 1992 or 1993, they flew the soccer team on the coast of Gabon. It was shot down and they killed all those footballers of our country. We keep on crying because you can't have a military presence into another country. Immediately, it's a threat. Even if you have invited them, but you wouldn't know what they'll be thinking. So these are issues that we have to protect them and think forward that this should be a problem going forward. So if America says that, but also will say other countries which we are conversing now, will tell them that, no, please, President Buhari, I think he said that in his capacity. I also appealed to his government that he may reconsider his utterances because he maybe did not mean what he said. He thought because we're having problems on the continent and he's having problems in trying to fight the insurgencies and the terrorists in Nigeria there. So maybe he thought, no, man, let's have the Americans come and assist us, in a nice way. But, when you talk of military, you must think forward. If I invite the military man in my house, what else will he do, apart from assisting me? And why is America interested in assisting Africa? These are the questions that we have to pose. Why are NGOs assisting in Africa? And what have they achieved? What have they achieved? I talked about the NGOs, AFRICOM and the Oxfam, UNICEF, and the many other pretending like to be Mother Teresa's on the continent. What have they achieved? What have they assisted? Or is it just a temporary giving food to the child or water to the displaced people without finding a lasting solution? So these are issues that has to be discussed critically at a leadership level, not at a level that will give us problems in future.
Right. I'm not sure how much you know about all the places America has occupied prior. If you know a lot more about places like Iraq and all these places where America have had to, station with their military. Would you be able to tell us why such places called for America to leave their country? What were the benefits and what were the downsides of America, you know, stationing in their country?
Yes, it is estimated that the United States is getting over 6 million troops outside America. These are in Iraq, they are in Bosnia, they are in Libya. Some of them they are in some secret places, as military bases, just ready to attack other countries because they use them as territories. We are fully aware of the 2003, 2001, 2004, the Gulf War in Iraq, where they pretended to see that President Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction, only to realize that they were there for oil and they wanted the absolute control of Iraq. They actually bombed the whole country to ashes, and they offered to rebuild. Part of it they have rebuilt. It's all about the control. you know, when they send a team of military in that country, they intimidate, because what America does, the approach of in terms of their approach, that if you have a military chief who reports now to feedback every day to the military colonel who comes from America, so that displaces your power in terms of military. And you must understand, Susan, that we Africans, the military is the last line of defense that we have to protect as sacred, and it must be a secret. I sometimes I get surprised, when I hear countries said, no, we are going to Russia to acquire arms and ammunition, and as the technology advances to the another next level of millennium, these weapons we are buying from outside, they will maybe detonated remotely from Russia, and we will be surprised how the weapons have denotated. Even cell phones, we are not safe. That's why we are saying, let's believe in us as Africans. Let's produce our technological tools that we can use, that we are 100% in full control. Because these gadgets we are using, we don't know. Our locations are on Google, they are watching us, everything we are saying, and whatever we are planning, we are not safe. So the peace and security starts from the technological power that we are using. So America's influence also in Democratic Republic of Congo, as well as in conflict zones. We can see what happened in Libya, because America decides, whenever they feel that it's a security threat to their government, they can fly the team to that country and eliminate what they want to do. Colonel Muammar Gaddafi was eliminated without even going through the government system, to have Muammar Gaddafi tried if at all he committed any criminal activities against humanity or against the international community. That is diplomacy. It is what I ask every day, what these international countries or communities, either the Europeans or the United States of America, what they do to Africa, can we do to them? These are the questions we must ask ourselves. Why, as we bow down to them when they come? I see most presidents, when they go to United States of America, or either when the president of United States of America or any leader from the European countries, they come, they almost want to give them their seat, and they want to sit down. They do not know that that is their colleague. They've got their own territory. Us as Africans, we've got our own territory that we control. Same in our houses. There's no way somebody can come into my house and say, sit down, I'll sit on your chair. No, I'll offer him the chair that I feel that I can offer him. That is my territory, and I must protect it. And each time this person stands up and moves around, I must watch him, what he's doing. It is called security. But our security, if it is dependent to our former colonizers or our erstwhile countries, it misses the point of us being security. Yes, we have relations with the United States of America. It's not really a bad country, but most organizations like United Nations, AU, African Union, the regional blocks, West African Bloc, East African Bloc, Central African Bloc, SADC, and all these other organizations, and even countries, they are good countries. But within those countries or systems or organizations, there is cartels, there are syndicates who overtakes and comes in the pretense of America, or comes in the pretense of United Nations that we are trying to help, like what is happening in Undemocratic Republic of Congo. They are raising money to feed those who are displaced or educate the people. Once they raise so much money, only a few money of water and food they supply there, the rest of the money, it is a business. So these are
Absolutely.
syndicates which overtakes the Central African banks as well for all the countries.
Absolutely. Obi Man, thank you. Princess Ivy Osawe, Rahina Bello, thank you. I want to finally, my final question for you today is, like when you were talking, you talked about how African heads of states or presidents don't realize when they're talking to their colleagues who are, i.e. America, European countries. Even recently, when the Secretary of States from the United States was speaking, he was speaking to a Nigerian president and didn't even think that it was worth flying down to Nigeria. It had to be a virtual meeting. And so you can already see how we are perceived, how we're looked upon. Now, my final question is going to be that we all know, the entire world know how America values their people, themselves. If America was to, first of all, when President Muhammadu Buhari invited them to come in station, it wasn't just to come in station, it was also the fact that he had said that we now need help from America to fight Boko Haram or the bandits or whatever it is. We know that if America was to accept that offer and came down, America is not going to come for free. So in that regard, I want you to talk to us, everybody else, to explain to us what that really portends for the economy of Nigeria, the security of Nigeria, the political stability of Nigeria, and so on.
Yes, thank you very much. That is a very important question, Susan. And I think maybe, I don't know if it was a submission from one of the listeners. America lives on an American dream, which was established many years ago, maybe 1939, 1941. If you follow the history of United States of America, it's America first. So if America is trying to assist Nigeria, it's not trying to assist Nigeria, it's trying to assist the American. They'll always in that motion, and they will spend money where it is going to benefit for the Americans. You see now Joe Biden is trying to withdraw some troops in some other countries. He said there's no value in having those troops in those countries. What are we getting from those countries? So I can't just remember now the country now that they have said they're going to withdraw the troops, because they cost money. So if America has to send the infrastructure in terms of military to Nigeria, who's going to foot that bill? So, but what they do, they know that these countries are poor, in the sense that they're poor, but they are not poor, but they want to capitalize to make you believe that you're poor. So what they normally do is, we're going to bring the troops. Then they give you conditions that should you require the vaccines, the first point of view to send a quotation is to Johnson & Johnson or Pfizer. If you do not do that, then we're not going to assist you, or we're going to have this or these sanctions or whatever. So that's what happens. We hear what happened here in South Africa. The South African government, they rushed to get AstraZeneca vaccines from India. They had a problem, a challenge. They had to withdraw those vaccines or give them away. I don't know if those are the ones now which has been thrown to Nigeria. But Johnson & Johnson, they were very upset because the United States of America spends about $80 million or 80 million rand, rather, in South Africa every 12 months in terms of CDC operations, what they call the Center for Disease Control. So they'll give you something, but they'll put demands. There is nothing for free. Everything you have to pay for it. So if Africa thinks that they have to live on aid, it's the understatement presentation to the continent. And these are the things which brings problems, because some of these conditions, they are lifetime conditions. You know, they'll tell you they'll get 2% of all your copper or your oil exports, you know, for the period of 90 years, you know, and that's a lot of money, you know. So you see the infrastructure in Nigeria is dilapidated because the government does not have money. You know, President Buhari coffers there is finished. There's no money in Nigeria. They have the central bank. There's no money completely, you know, because they signed what I call, they signed the life of the country on a period of 90 years, you know, to pay that percentage, because America or or Europe or whatever the country or whoever the government assisted them just to buy 200 beds in a hospital, but they don't know what they're selling and what they're giving. So these are the issues that we have to sit down, that if we start or we stop or we are failing rather to govern ourselves in terms of peace and security, in terms of education, in terms of health, and we start extending our help to be assisted by another country, that is the beginning of the problem, and we won't come out from there. We must make sure that we manage our populations within the country. Nigeria now is going to almost 2 to 300 million citizens. You know, it is enough capital, you know, if you have to have 50% of 300 million people, which is about 150 million people, you know, paying tax. Only one paying 1 naira is already an income if they are in employment. You understand the economical the situation, Susan. So you only know what we are saying is we do not hate the international community, but when we are coming on mutual agreement, like what you are saying, just a mayor, cabinet minister, Secretary of State of United States of America, he wants to call President General Buhari on a conference call and instruct him. You know, we are giving them power to overpower us. You know, we are giving them power to instruct us. You know, what is United States of America to Nigeria? You know, in Nigeria is also a mutual partner to United States of America. United States of America wants something, and Nigeria also wants something. So if we can't trade mutually, then there's no way. Then Nigeria must find another trading partner. So we should have that type of approach. And it's business. You know, there's nothing else. All these diplomatic relations, it's business. You know, you see that the United States of America and many other European countries, they've got embassies in the countries on the African continent. What are they looking for? They are looking for skills. They're looking for talent. You know, talent theft is a bigger thing. We see that most of the Nigerians, when they're educated, they go to America. That's a talent theft. That's why America or Nigeria is underdeveloped, because we are only left with the citizens that are of average skills.
Right. Brain drain. And so I just want you to take 1 minute, just 1 minute, and send your message across to President Muhammadu Buhari of Nigeria.
Yes, thank you very much. I thought you won't give me that opportunity. Greetings to the people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. General President Buhari, you know, we are in support of your good governance, and we are in support of whatever that you are doing to make sure that Nigeria, and specifically Nigerians, have a safer home in Nigeria, and they do not leave the country to go and seek for home elsewhere. But we would like you, you know, to consider the decision of you calling United States of America to come and install or relocate their AFRICOM base to Africa, because I, as president of Africa 55 states and president of African political parties, we have seen that there's a threat if we start inviting the militarizing of foreign troops within our countries. This gives a signal that we are failing to control ourselves. If we are failing to control ourselves, why can't we, President Buhari, extend our invitation to the President of South Africa, President of Zambia, President of Rwanda, President Paul Kagame, and many other presidents within the African continent? And I'm sure we can solve our problem. We believe in you, as we are presiding over the biggest nation of population on the continent, and please reconsider your statements, and especially in terms of peace and security. I hear last time before the Boko Haram, they just started taking over and they took the girls there, you said, no, this is a Nigerian problem. But I'm submitting to you, President Buhari, that where human rights are violated, where the girls in Nigeria, or where the boys or men and women, orderly or whoever the race are violated in Nigeria, it becomes a problem for all of us as Africans. That's why we talk to see and assist and make sure that your decisions are decisions that is going to build us. Thank you very much, and may God bless you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sinkala. I will catch up with you on the other side. Many thanks. God bless
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.
Yes. And so, guys, yes, that was Dr. Sinkala. Always a pleasure to have him. I'm going to take this short read, and then I'll immediately bring Barrister Abubakar Yesufu, who is going to be joining us from Lagos, Nigeria. There is Eze Okechukwu, who says, those that feel they've conquered Nigeria and its opportunities have no qualms. They're incapable of appreciating the grave damage they've done to the notion of one Nigeria. And instead of retracting their steps, they resort to blaming others for the looming disintegration. And Theodora Igwe says from YouTube, well, African leaders need to realize they are colleagues to Western leaders and not their servants. And I have Tamanode Priya Micah A says, I must commend Dr. Charles. He is very vast and understands deeply the economic interest which attracts America to other countries. I totally agree with him, especially knowing too well that countries they have earlier occupied have not known peace till date. And on that note, I'm going to add to stream Barrister Abubakar Yesufu.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Susan Wells, for having me again once more. I'm delighted to be here. I listened patiently to the submission of Sinkala, and he strikes me as a Pan-Africanist, and I salute him in his own measure. But let me here and now say that I'm in Nigeria, the theater of war, so to say. And they say when a horse goes to the battlefield to fight, and that horse decides to speak, we must hear from the horse's mouth. The truth is that Nigeria is at the precipice.
Sorry, Barrister Yesufu, sorry, we can't see your face. Can you center yourself a little bit? Yes, thank you.
Yes, I'm encouraged by Doctor's conviction that it is unpatriotic, so to say, to call wholesomely the Americans to come into our zone to help us renegotiate or settle what is tantamount to be at the precipice. The truth is that Nigeria is at the precipice of collapse, and when, God forbid, this country decides to collapse, it's going to affect the entire continent. So I do not see anything wrong with President Buhari inviting AFRICOM to come to our rescue, because as I speak, most governors, they are on their way to Abuja to report either the siege, that is going on in their states, or the kidnap of students and all that. So we are actually at the precipice of not just a collapse, we are also at the precipice of a civil war with the people who are agitating for separatist movements like the Oduduwa Republic and the Biafra state. So it is good to really, look at it and comment, in quote, Buhari, the invitation of this AFRICOM, which is a unified movement for, it's made up of about 11 instruments, so to say, under the American defense. If they can come and give us the necessary impetus that will help us in stabilizing Nigeria, because this is a country that is boiled down with turmoil, a continent in peril, and even a globe in crisis. So I don't think it's out of place for the president, Muhammad Buhari, to call these people. But we have other problems internally that we need to solve. Don't forget that since Perestroika and Glasnost, that is the fall of the old Soviet Union, came into existence, the globe is increasingly becoming a unipolar globe, with America leading the war. And if you look at the clinical, rescue of the American that was actually kidnapped in the Niger State, some 2 months ago, you know that the Americans, they stand head and shoulders above us in terms of intelligence and manpower and all that. So it's not out of place. What is really disturbing is the internal problems we are having in Nigeria. The method that is transcendental to inviting them. If we are really serious about fighting insurgency, inviting the Americans, we should be able to put our house in order. Firstly, we are very doubtful whether the government, as to where under Buhari, is truly for a thorough fight against insurgency, when it is being rumored seriously too that some, in fact, Jonathan even muted this when he was in power, that there are some members of his executive that have alliance, that have sympathy for Boko Haram and allied forces. It has come to fore that somebody like Minister Issa Patami, holding as constant the video that is trending, has or had sympathy for Boko Haram and Al-Qaeda. So we really need to look inward and ensure that we are really ready, we are totally ready to imbibe or invite this AFRICOM. AFRICOM has been existing for the past 12 years, so it's not out of place to tap on their technology, to tap on their intelligence. I think it is even too late to ask them to go back, because as we speak, the Tuscano war machine that we purchased about 3 years ago is going to be arriving in Nigeria around July. So we're already ingrained, so to say, in American network.
Barrister Yesufu, what strikes me, of course, I like the fact that you have a different opinion or idea of why AFRICOM, it was a good idea for President Muhammadu Buhari to invite AFRICOM. And then when you were talking, you did mention, is it perestroika and globalnost? Is it glasnost, sorry, of USSR. But if my memory serves me right, that was a situation that Gorbachev used to try to reform his country at the time.
Yes.
How can you compare, or how can you use that to analyze what is going on in Nigeria when the leadership in Nigeria have not in any way, or has not in any way shown itself to be a government that wants to unite or to reform or to bring people together?
Yeah, let me be very clear. When I said glasnost, perestroika, I was actually referring to the general diverging of the entire Soviet Union into Russia alone, with a more powerful machine and all that. And with the glasnost and perestroika, the only leader of the unipolar world, we now have one world military power, so to say, and that is the United States of America. If they decide to come to our aid, I don't see it as a sign of weakness. I see it as tapping into the membership of the United Nations and all that. And it is glaring that our military men cannot take on the insurgents, and we are failing. God forbid, if Nigeria fails, the entire continent will fail. And this African command that is currently based in Stuttgart, Kelly military barracks, is virtually idle. What I really was able to design from the doctor's presentation is that it would have been president to president. It would have been Biden to Buhari, as opposed to Biden to Secretary of State. It's like unequal powers talking about it and all that. If we can tap on their intelligence and technological know-how, like what they use in rescuing their kidnapped citizen in the Niger State, I guess it was with the clinical finishing and all that. I don't think that is anything bad. But we're not going to allow them to have full occupancy of our space and what have you. In terms of training, in terms of intelligence and technological know-how, don't forget that we paid about 350 million for the Tuscano war machine, and that will be arriving by the middle of July. So it's still late in the day to see Americans don't come here. Maybe perhaps we need to guide what we are going to allow them to do and all that. Clearly.
Really, does Nigeria have the power to tell America what you're allowed to do when you come and settle in Nigeria? Does Nigeria have the power to do so? America is a world superpower. Politically, economically, militarily, Nigeria is not at par with America. Now, I want to ask an interesting question, which is, what is the real reason President Muhammadu Buhari, in your opinion, is inviting them to come? Are they coming to fight the bandits and the terrorists, or are they coming to checkmate the people who say they no longer want to be part of Nigeria because of the injustices that is happening, i.e. the Oduduwas and the Biafra?
Well, the details are not yet very clear. We from the mainstream and social media, we're just aware that Buhari has given up in quotes, that the military machine that he presently heads is inadequate to check the insurgents, be it Boko Haram, be it kidnappers, and all that. But like you mentioned, the people who are asking for different republics, that's a different kettle of fish. Because if they have the rights, Oduduwa has the right to ask for a republic, Biafra has the right to a republic. As a matter of fact, that's an indication of failure of government or governance. When you now ask, when you now see a country, part of a country, asking that they do not want to be part of the bigger country, then it stands to reason that the governors in that whole political zone, they are failed. Suffice it to say that if you go to Biafra, if you take Biafra in quote as a typical example, you discover that the Obama Dike or the man who is currently in Ezra is more popular than all the governors combined together. And that's the more reason why Buhari should ask for a conference, even if not Buhari, some non-state actors should call this young man and ask him what he really wants. But as for me, I do not think that the secessionist is the best. Don't forget that before the secessionist bid, these people were asking for true federalism. Because when they fail to yield true federalism, now say, look, let's go the full hog and ask for separate country. I think the government, as it stands, is deaf to advice and what have you. And the managers of Buhari, including his wife, who is an activist, should once again sit Buhari down and let him know that there are some insufficiency that is reflecting in government and governance. Take the issue of appointments, which are generally geared towards sustaining his tribe, the Fulani, and all that. People are not comfortable. If we have a balanced federalism that is highly cosmopolitan, that is reflective of our federal nature, I don't think these people would have been asking for secessionists. It's because they refuse to reflect a balanced federalism. That's why they are going the extra length to ask for a secessionist or Biafra, Oduduwa, what have you. So, like I said, I'm not one of the advocates of a divided Nigeria at the League of Patriotic Lawyers. We believe in oneness and brotherhood. We believe in putting the country together. But when you have a government that is deaf to instructions, a government that is engaging in maybe extrajudicial killing, if you may add, like the present killing of a Kone in Imo State, I think it was quite unnecessary. If Kone had been arrested and linked to all those destructions, maybe we would have gotten a lot of information from him. But extrajudicially killing him is going to make them more militarized, just like what happened in Boko Haram. Don't forget that Mohammed Yesufu was preaching whilst he was extrajudicially killed, and the people went underground, and that is the cause of the insurrection that we are facing for the past 12 years. So I hope this government is not going to be eroded into the same, how do I put it, the same type of panacea that will lead us to nowhere. And the managers, so to say, of Buhari, especially those who are the frontline people like the media men, megaphones of official falsehood, they should be cautioned and they should be made to tell the people the truth. I hope those who once told us that Boko Haram has been technically defeated, they will again come out and tell us that Boko Haram is now active, and we need to put not just Boko Haram, we also need to address the issue of the headers Fulani clash.
Yeah, so that brings me. I'm going.
farmers' clash, so to say.
In my opinion, as an ordinary citizen, there was nothing there is nothing we could keep referring to as herders farmer clash. No, maybe in the beginning years ago it probably was a clash, but that's not what it is right now, because we have seen evidences of how these people operate. Princess Ivy Osawe from Canada says this integration is needed through referendum. Simple. There are people who will argue that. In fact, there are people who before, like myself, we lived in this utopic world where we just loved Nigeria. We just didn't want to hear anything that has to do with this integration of Nigeria. But then as it went on, we began to understand and realize and begin to accept the fact that the Nigeria as we knew it is probably never going to be the same again. Now we've gotten to the point where there are people who are saying they no longer even want referendum. They just want their own country. The reason they say so, I'll give you an instance. There was an article online that I read that I saw a few days ago, where a governor from one of the southeastern states tried to contact the president of Nigeria to quickly, because intelligence that was gathered said that there was going to be an attack in a particular community in his state by Fulani herdsmen. And he was kept on hold for over an hour, and the next time for over 2 hours. During that time, the attack happened. Soon after the attack happened, soldiers were there. Soldiers were deployed to that community. And of course, we know the reason why the soldiers were deployed there was to make sure there was no reprisal attack. What kind of a country, what kind of a people are we if we allow criminals to keep killing innocent people and then protecting the criminals? Why is President Muhammadu Buhari inviting the United States of America? I still ask again.
Well, I do hope you also give me the opportunity, like you did to Dr. Charles Sinkala, to send a message to the President Muhammadu Buhari on what he needs to do if Nigeria is to remain one entity. And I do not sympathize, or I'm not a member of this conspiracy theory that there's the need to completely annihilate people, but we have seen elements of that playing out. Because if not, how come the Fulani that are less than 10 million people, less than even 6 million people, they are holding the entire population to ransom? Yeah. We have Fulanis when Buhari was there, when Abacha was there. We have Fulani when Babangida was there. They were not able to hold us to ransom. So that is why, to an extent, this is a conspiracy theory, is holding sway. But like I told you, I'm not a sympathizer. I don't believe in a conspiracy theory. I just believe that President Buhari is ill-advised, and even the wife has told us that this is certainly not my husband that I used to know. People that have not been part of government and governance, that have not been part of enabling Buhari. It might interest you to note that I'm one of the enablers of Buhari in 2015. We thought that a man who had once been the president of the country, former petroleum minister that had no filling station, that had no house in Lagos, none in Abuja, was living in Tiribet. It was very alluring, for him to have so disappointed, his admirers, it's quite unfortunate. I still believe he can turn around the table by ensuring that things that are very disingenuous, they are taken out. But as we stand, like I told you, we are at the precipice of not just being taken over by the insurgents, but at the precipice of a civil war. Well, these people that are asking for their various countries, they are serious. They are serious in the sense that they are being left out of government and governance. They are not represented. Buhari said it all. The first press conference he had, he was actually making a reference to the fact that only 5% of the Southeast voted for him. He will also reflect that 5% interest in that area. That was very unstatemently, and whosoever prepared that speech, or who prepared him for that was on couch and subhuman constitution, monkeyship character, lacking in diplomacy and all that. So the Southeast is justified to say that, look, we don't feel part. We don't feel like being part and parcel of this country. The same thing with Odua. But like I told you, I'm a patriot. in my organization, League of Patriotic Lawyers, we believe in the love, for one's nation, loyalty to the state, and zeal for its true interest. I think we should let Buhari know that the threat to our unity is real, very real, not only from insurgents, but from those people that are, agitating for, their separate republics. And that the only way we can do this is to have a cosmopolitan government. And the only way we can do this is to do away with some of these so-called godfathers. The question you will probably ask is that, why should somebody like Soludo, who is aspiring to be, or who was, before he was almost killed 3 weeks ago, aspiring to be the governor of Anambra State, be slated for death? Don't forget too, when we are talking about all these things, we need to go back to history. Before 1999, Lagos State was not a rich state, but people were able to transform Lagos State, that was not even an oil producing state, to the richest state in Nigeria. Those who have made these things to happen, they are still under serious aggression. If I may quickly mention this to you, the last governor we had, Akim Miambo, they are one of his lawyers, is still being harassed today. He was like the engine room of Lagos State. What stops us from coming out together and bring about this our eggheads and let them chart the course of our economic recovery and all that? But it's unfortunate that Buhari is having, he's still believing in, regional, godfathers and all that. But I think it's going to be a victory, and we use the country nobles. So as we speak, I want a rejuvenation of what we are thinking about, because at the League of Petroleum Lawyers, we have this so much touted five-finger philosophy, which cuts across social regeneration, economic determinism, mental emancipation, political resurgmental, and even spiritual balance. By the time you tell the people or a country that this is where you go, and for my tribe, the people become very reluctant to be Nigerianized. They become reluctant to become part and parcel of that country. So it's not shocking, it's not new that these separatist castes, or the voices of separatism, they are very loud and clear. And like I said, not too late for him to reverse and let us have a united Nigeria, as opposed to disunited Nigeria. Because I think I'm still too old. I'm becoming too old to be a refugee in either London. I don't know whether Susan West will be ready to house me as a refugee in London or any other place. So that's why we need to fight for a united Nigeria, and we need to really come together and advise Buhari to toe the road of unity, as opposed to the road of tribalism and ethnicity.
Yeah, like you mentioned, it's not too late to make a turnaround. But the point is, or the fact is, as far as we know, with all the signs and the evidence that we know, the intention, is President Muhammadu Buhari intending to see that he does right by Nigerians, the entire Nigeria. Having said that, I want to mention that when you did mention about conspiracy theory, you don't believe in conspiracy theory, I want to assume that you are referring to the Fulanization agenda of Nigeria, right?
Yes. It's going to be suicidal for Buhari or for any other person to think that they can Fulanize Nigeria, or that Ruga or the open grazing team has come to stay. Because as we stand, the Fulani, the criminal Fulani elements, they are more endangered now. No geopolitical zone is ready to accept them, except for political gains and all that. So the Fulanization of Nigeria is a mirage. It's going to be a victory that will not yield any fruits. And if this is what the government, the line the government is thinking about, I would say it is suicidal. They have learned nothing, like the bombers of late, who despite their 22 years exile, they have learned nothing and they have forgotten nothing. There's no geopolitical zone that is ready to accept Fulanization. So it's going to be a full-blown war. And I think Buhari will not be happy, to be the end of a united Nigeria. Then it will be said that Buhari really sparked the light that blew Nigeria to blazes. I pray not, and I hope not, and I do hope he would learn from history.
Okay, and finally, thank you. Your message to President Muhammad Buhari in a minute.
Yes. President Muhammad Buhari, we are under intense pressure, even though we believe that APC, the government you represent, has failed. We also believe that PDP is not an option. We are looking for a hybrid. And if this hybrid does not come, because don't forget that in 2015, a lot of multiple Nigerians, which includes but not limited to the noble laureate Wole Soyinka, Femi Falana, myself, Chief Abubakar Yesufu, but too numerous to mention, we contributed to your re-election. But if you continue to toe this line, which borders on tribalism, nepotism, then it will mean that you want yourself to be confined to the footprint of history as opposed to the visible page of history that endured forever. So I think you can still make the difference. You can still go ahead and appoint people that are full of merit, people that are tested and trusted, governors that are performed. Don't rely on any regional leader to make your appointments, nor or tribal leader to make your appointments. So we are waiting for you to have a turnaround so that we can build a united Nigeria as opposed to a disintegrated Nigeria, where history will be very unkind to you, God forbid.
Thank you very much, Barrister Yesufu. Many thanks. I do appreciate that you honored our invitation. And so,
thank you so much. Thank you for having me, and I look forward to meeting you again.
Okay. And so, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, family, you know what? Making a turnaround, that would be miracles do happen. And we must not lose hope as human beings, as Nigerians. But when you see the handwriting on the wall, President Muhammadu Buhari making a turnaround at this very last minute, it will take a miracle for that to happen. But like I said, miracles do happen. So fingers crossed, we do hope that that we will shame the devil, as we say in Nigeria. We will shame the devil, and that Nigeria will teach the world a thing or two in a positive manner at the end of it all. Well, that's all we can take today. I do hope that as you come on, you like and follow us and subscribe to our channels. It is Africa Rise TV on YouTube. It is Africa_Rise.tv on Instagram, and SWOB21, SWOB21 on Facebook. And for those of you watching on my wall, please do migrate to my page. Thank you very much. And of course, I will see you next weekend, God willing. I have had a fantastic time and thoroughly enjoyed myself on today's conversation. WSR1, thank you. Another good one. Thank you, brother, for all your support. Thank you, everyone. And I'll see you next weekend. Bye-bye.